Well, thank you, Anna, for having me. I would say the president's obsession with me and the Somali community is really unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. It sounds like he is trying to deflect from the failures that he's had as president. His immigration rates are not going in the way that he's expected. We know that the tariffs are not working to make life affordable for Americans. We know that he is afraid of what is in the Epstein files as he's fought to be the head of the pedophile protection party. And we know that right now he is being investigated for war crimes that he might have committed when he ordered what seems to be illegal attacks against boats in the Caribbean.
Our opening clip was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar showing how to stand up to convicted felon Donald Trump. Welcome to Gaslit Nation. I am your Virgil into the underworld of U.S. and global politics and where they intertwine. And this is Gaslit Nation, a show about corruption in America and rising autocracy worldwide. In this week's bonus show, available in full to our Patreon subscribers who keep our show going, I share a heated debate, a continuation. This discussion you're about to hear came out of a Thanksgiving family debate at the Chalupa household. Can America ever have a woman president in our lifetimes? Joining me for that discussion is Kiev-based independent journalist Terrell Starr, who weathered the storm of Thanksgiving with the Chalupas this year. But first, congratulations to everyone in Tennessee who voted for progressive congressional candidate Afton Bain, who lost by 9 points in a deep red gerrymandered district that Donald Trump won by 22 points. I know a final poll at the very end of the election claimed that she might lose by only 2 percentage points. But obviously, Donald Trump, the Republicans, threw everything they had in the final stretch of this race. It got national attention galore. But a 9-point loss is still a huge deal and signals that when you have a midterm level vote turnout in a special election, want to know what's coming up next? Not just a blue wave, but a blue tsunami for Republicans in 2026. And remember, Republicans have the most success in stealing and rat fucking elections when they divide and conquer, when they demoralize the base. So obviously they're trying to get some culture war cooked up, maybe yet another genocide. They're going to try to do something to divide and conquer us. So as AOC, as Mamdani have said in New York, in their battle to defeat corporate greed and a cynical party machine politics, not once but twice against Cuomo, unity and hope. Our victory comes down to unity and hope. That is the engine of our grassroots power that we desperately need to build our own power, to flesh out the system, because that is the only way we win. So what Tennessee also reminds us of course, is that Republicans depend on gerrymandering to win, which is stealing, which is cheating. And I know Democrats have their own gerrymandered districts, but that's in response to Republicans driving this crisis. And not only that, Republicans have to keep hitting the refresh button on their gerrymandering in order to keep up with shifting demographics in America. Tennessee was already gerrymandered when Republicans in 2022 redrew the maps to be even more gerrymandered, and they will continue to do that, moving the goalposts again and again during the inevitable browning of America, because they simply cannot round up and lock up and gulag every non-white person as much as they want to. And believe me, Stephen Miller is trying. That is his Nazi fever dream. They are pretty clear about that. Now, let's get to this week's bonus show. Can a woman become president of the United States in our lifetimes? What will it take? Listen to the full bonus show. Be sure to subscribe to Gaslit Nation at the Truth Teller level or higher. Discounted annual memberships are available, and you can give the gift of membership. Get bonus shows, all shows ad-free, invites to exclusive events like our Monday salons, and more at patreon.com/gaslit. That's patreon.com/gaslit. Thank you to everyone who supports the show. Now, here is our debate. Let us know in the comments where you stand. I heard things getting heated around the Chalupa Thanksgiving table, and Terrell's in there with this glass of wine holding it down. And I'm like, and I just pull up a chair. I'm like, allow me to podcast for all of you. And so we got in a big discussion over, is America a sick society? Who's really to blame for how we got here? And I want to point out, because this conversation led to, can a woman actually ever be president of the United States? And obviously, Michelle Obama, who everybody loves, and they're trying to get her to run for president. Michelle Obama's like, stop joking. You're not ready for a woman president. You've already told us that twice in 2 elections. But as I pointed out at Thanksgiving dinner, those were 2 extremely weird elections. In 2016, Hillary Clinton faced an all-out assault from a foreign enemy, the Kremlin, a massive act of war where they did everything in their power to illegally, successfully help Trump come to power. And you had like a Keystone Cops FBI under James Comey that let it all happen in plain sight. And so, yes, that was a lot of misogyny that James Comey is now paying for, because he may have beat his first legal battle against Trump trying to indict him, but Trump's DOJ, which is his own personal attorneys, just announced a new indictment coming for James Comey. So James Comey, you made this bed. Your misogyny made this bed. And it's a water bed, and you're now drowning in it because your misogyny punctured a big fat hole in it. And now it's like, so I want to just point out, so Hillary Clinton, 2016 election, act of war by the Kremlin. There was a bipartisan Senate intelligence investigation saying, yes, the Kremlin did all these illegal things to help the Trump campaign in 2016. That's an act of war. In fact, there was a British TV series called The Undeclared War, all about that same exact scenario. Where do you think they got the idea from? And of course, they suffered the same thing of Kremlin active measures and weaponized corruption from their own Brexit vote. And we've done an episode called Brexit and Trump Are the Same Crime, because they are. So active war in 2016 by the Kremlin. And then Kamala Harris in 2024, like, she was in the horrible position of being thrust on the global stage because Biden couldn't step aside sooner. And the people around Biden that were clinging to power couldn't imagine him stepping aside sooner. And they were hiding, in fact, his health issues and how he was slipping, things that were now coming out and being reported a little too late. So Kamala Harris was in the unenviable position of having to try to save global democracy by winning this election with a few months left. So again, I don't what are your thoughts, Terrell? Do you think America is ready for a woman president? And were these just really strange elections and with misogyny thrown in?
I don't think there's ever going to be an election in which misogyny is not going to play a factor if a woman is seriously contending for the White House. That's never going to happen. And even if it's from the Republican side, right? Because, and especially the Republican side, because the misogyny, I'll put it to you this way. I'm going to address Kamala, but I want to focus on something with the Republican Party. Even if they had their dream woman, it's all going to be based in misogyny, because that woman fits a particular type of phenotypic image and a particular type of narrative about how a woman should present themselves and behave, because at the end of the day, she will always have to subjugate herself to a man. Okay? So that's what it is. If you notice, though, the type of women that Trump props up, they all have this same type of phenotypical type of presentation about themselves. And they have several types. It's one where they have this kind of what a lot of white America would say is beautiful or attractive, but it's almost like a type of what's the type of language to say? Because I don't even want to reference to the I'm trading carefully in that regard too. Like the Pam Bondis of the world, right? And so there's a particular type of attitude that they have or a particular type of look or a feature.
Barbies,
And
they're
then you have
plastic, they're fake.
yes, okay, yes,
They fit
yes,
the
yes,
patriarchal norm of
yes.
what patriarchy wants women to look like.
Okay,
Barbie dolls.
Barbie doll, yes, yeah, Barbie doll. So they have this very Barbie doll kind of cheap, aesthetic to themselves. I didn't want to say that, but that's what Pam Bondi is, and they all look the same. When it's his personal attorney that was, where it's Trump's personal attorney, whether or you may have a situation where you have the White House press secretary, that young.
Carolyn Lovett, whose husband is like twice her age, and there she is trying to defend her boss, who was a longtime friend of pedophile Jeffrey Epstein,
Right. And so, but
right?
think
And
about, but
she looks like a child, her like bride herself, married to an
it
old dirty man.
precisely. Okay, so you have the Pam Bondi type, and then you have the Caroline Levitt who plays this young, I'm going to I have the family type of dynamic. And so she doesn't have the bimbo look or the plastic face look per se. But what she does have is, I'm going to have as many kids as possible to carry on, just to carry on the white gene type of dynamic. She's like the slave master's wife, basically, right? Where she'll look at the enslaved person and say, I'm going to give you this money to go to the store, and if you give me any words, you'll get 50 lashes. That's how she strikes me, okay? But at the end of the day, even if it's a Republican woman, if it was a Nikki Haley, for example, which they would never do, because as much as Nikki Haley caps, as much as she stands to the 10 toes down for white supremacy, they don't really like her because she's Indian, okay? But let's just say you get a white woman prototype there. They're all going to play a subjugated role to a man.